Hey guys, Mike here. So another fun day in the market, and I made it back just in time. 9.5 hours of driving to Alabama and back to drop my mother back off. She was gracious enough to watch our dogs during our trip and everything. So I'm glad to be out of that car. I got back just in time to put this video together for you. And boy, I tell you, we had something happen this morning to Semiconductors, which we'll talk about. We talked about them yesterday, which is helping push some through the resistance, okay? Also got something very big coming up tomorrow, which will change probably all of the charts. Again, we're close to all-time highs. Not going to be surprised if we get like maybe a small liquidity pull back down before moving up. But again, it'll depend on this data we come out tomorrow. And a couple other stocks we're going to talk about. Obviously, Tesla once again, followed, I guess it would be the second route we talked about in Sunday's video. But it's coming to a very, very key level. And I want to start off right off the bat what's happening tomorrow with you guys. Obviously, we got CPI, which has been coming in, basically better than usual. And we have a 10-year bond auction as well. So we'll see how that goes. And I want to ask you guys about this chart here real quick. And it talks about, how long are stocks held now, right? And it goes all the way back to the 20s, goes up to about 2010. And you can see the period, well, it used to be like 10 years back in the day, then it was 7 years through the 50s, 60s, kept dropping to 70s, 80s, just kept on dropping through the 2000s. And I mean, I can actually believe it's less than a year. A lot of people hold stocks, and not even just us, but these hedge funds, because of algorithmic trading, fees for trading, how they make their money. And so it's not just us, it's the institutions, I think, that are skewing this as well. I think probably individuals hold stocks way longer than institutions do. We see that every quarter. Of course, but I'm curious to get your thoughts and how long do you normally hold a stock for, okay? Now, of course, what is helping keep this rally, as we talked about, keeping push up. Here is your long-short ratios you can see. Obviously, the norms we're trying to get back to on this ratio is like middle of 2022 going to the beginning of 2025 right there, probably to the first quarter. Then it fell off a cliff, but this just shows, this is talking about hedge funds, right? And how far they are still behind in this, because as even Tom Lee talked about, there's still plenty of shorts out there. They missed the rally back up. You got CTAs chasing. Other funds are trying to chase. And so, again, that's when you say, I don't understand why we're not dropping and why every dip keeps getting bought up. Well, that's it. Because you got to ask yourself, I mean, how many of you guys are buying at all-time highs right now for a lot of these stocks, which are way up there? That's the question. Let me know in the comments if you're still buying at these levels. Or, a lot of you probably have bought all the dips, right? So just, ask yourself that question. So I'm not surprised that they're behind. And if this rally obviously pushes us through all-time highs and keeps pushing higher, then you can bet money that's who's chasing this, right? Who continues to push this up and up and up. So, let me know in the comments what you think about that. Now, as I told the members this morning, what happened with semiconductors and why we needed to watch them, because they were coming to the resistance that we talked about. But Taiwan Semiconductors actually went out and said, hey, look, our May revenue grew 40% year over year. So let's see if this is going to push this through the resistance. You can see semiconductors obviously instead of going down, we're pretty much all green. Even Abco and Nvidia were green as well. SMCI is the only red. And then when we look at these charts like we looked at yesterday, those who watched, this is trying to close above what has been resistance for a little over a year now on MU. Taiwan Semiconductors come up to the top of this box, which we talked about. So still at a level it can reject that right now. ARM, we didn't even talk about that one yesterday, but when I looked at it, I was like, okay, it's been a while since I looked at this chart right here. But you can clearly see it's at a level of interest for sure, where you could see a rejection, but it is breaking above the previous highs. You can see that it's set right there. But when we try putting some lines on this, you can see it is definitely at a level, like all the rest of them, setting up right to either break above, okay, and continue this push higher, because they've been leading this rally all the way from the bottom right here. And you can see if it gets above like 144.34 right there, then this thing can absolutely continue to go higher. ASML is another one, another breakout candidate. We didn't talk about this one yesterday either, but you can see clearly where it's got rejected multiple times at the level it was at, and it's actually closing somewhat above it or right on it today, which a lot of these are doing. If it gets above that, this is another one that can definitely continue to go as well, for sure. But again, they're all just kind of sitting in this area of interest where you could see rejection. We'll see if the market, because again, if the market wants to come down for liquidity, it's going to bring these down with them. AMD almost at that trend line. Okay, remember what else is almost at that trend line? Right there, it's the 200. Didn't quite touch today, but as we talked about, it would be a magnet for AMD. Okay, and so This is what you're seeing with it. Again, you see it didn't quite touch it today right there. Look on the daily. So it might have some room even farther up. Again, I expect the rejection there. That's knowing what you get. Doesn't mean it's coming down very much, but once it breaks through there, if it does, then AMD is going to be cooking with even more Crisco, to say the least. But of course, Avgo, which has been a laggard since earnings, is coming down. And this one looks pretty dang good because it's coming into the previous all-time high level right there where it was resistance 3 or 4 times, coming into a discount. And so if this market's going to continue to push and semis are going to continue to push, Avgo, which already just set a previous all-time high right before earnings, is the strongest chart out there, really, out of all of them. And so this could absolutely start to push back up. This is getting a lot of noise and everything when people are talking about which ones to look at. Also coming down into a weekly fair value gap right there as well, into this level of interest. And so maybe it comes down a little more into the golden pocket. We'll see, but it already is at a discount right now. You look at NVIDIA, of course. Like I said, Avgo has been the strongest. NVIDIA is trying, to say the least, and it's holding up pretty well. And all-time highs are basically right there. And you can clearly look to the left and see the levels. They're marked out right there with those tops right there. It's like 145, 147, 150, something is like all-time highs right there. So, pay close attention to this one right here as well. But let's see if some of these continue to push or finally get a break. Now, Tesla, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Again, it took this route right here. We came down, bounced, and continues up. There's that gap right there. On the daily, it actually filled. In the 4 hour, it did not. But we talked about around like 332, 333. Everyone's going to continue to fill the whole gap on the 4 hour there. And right above that is going to be a fair value gap. So there's liquidity up above. If it wants to continue to push, they're going to roll out robo-taxis on Thursday. But it's not a one-day event. They put out today. It is a multiple week event. So it'll go all the way through June and July. So instead of like a sell the news event, maybe it doesn't turn out to be the way, and this thing continues to push up into the 340s, 350s. That's what we got to find out. Obviously, there's been a big rally up from 274, I believe it is. And so this is the route we've taken. And of course, the reason why, as usual, it's never fundamentals with this stock. It's the call options. And it was identical to what happened yesterday if you watched the video. Puts non-existent, and then around like noon we started picking up, and then at like 2:30 again surge in the calls. Okay, so people are surging to that again one day until this event, of course. But when you look over here, we'll just kind of examine this, put a line in place. You can clearly see when you look at this nice W shape recovery up there, formation. You can see exactly where support has been. So we'll put a white line right there. It just happens to coincide with the top of that gap right there. So you would think we would come into resistance right here around 332.50. If it breaks above that, it's going to come in that fair value gap. I expect to slow down at that point in time. Of course, again, I never count Tesla out because of call options. So I'll just watch the call flow on this one and see if they want some more. Definitely, as a fundamentals, you would hope it comes down, pulls a little liquidity, maybe at the event on Thursday or something, and then continues to move higher. A lot of people are targeting 400 on that one, just FYI. IBM, we talked about that 200 moving average. That's where we stopped at today. And again, it wasn't the strongest performer it has been over the last couple of days. The Qs and S&P actually did outperform it, but that's what we're looking at. It did hold the 213.85 area. If that breaks, you got a gap down there to 212.41. And then 210.46 should be support if we finally get a break on this one, because it's had a decent move up. If we break above that, of course, targeting between like 218.50, 220.75, somewhere in there is a nice daily fair value gap for some liquidity. If we get above that 200, that's going to be the big thing to watch out for this one if it gets above it. Now, looking at the Qs, you can see this thing is just a rising wedge. This is all over Twitter, and you can clearly see it. TradingView showing it too. That's all-time high. It's only 1.4% away, I believe. You got a wedge, a rising wedge within a wedge also. So not going to be surprised maybe in the morning, maybe pre-market, come down, grab some liquidity, start pushing up. Not going to be surprised if all this thing goes to all-time highs, and then you get some kind of sell-off. But eventually, whether it's Thursday, Friday, whatever it is, the question is, do they want to bring it down before OPEX, or do they want to push it all the way up and then we have OPEX? Because remember, as Jim Carson said, if we don't sit there and see weakness, and this is showing strength into OPEX, then June OPEX can become supportive and not a bearish thing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And the reason why June's a big one, because it'll be end of quarter. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, Hood, I meant to cover yesterday. Apologize for that right there. Somehow I overlooked it when I did the charts and didn't insert it. This one right here has come down because remember, it didn't get included in the S&P, like App 11. There was another one as well. and usually you get a sell down. I don't know if we're going to get a big discount on this one or not because it didn't even come down and test the previous all-time high yet at 67.81. This box would be a great add right there. There's 2 boxes, as a matter of fact, of somewhere between like 60 and 65.50, I believe. If it comes down there, that's the bigger question. Again, if we break the previous all-time high, we'll definitely come down there. The other great add, it's going to be right there at the 0.79 between like 53, 55 as well. You can see that's really good support for it. So watch this one, but this is like Palantir and all these others that are hugely popular, not just with us, by the way, with hedge funds as well. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we're going to get the discount on this one. That's really the big thing when it comes to this one right here, because Palantir forever. I mean, sometimes you finally get a sell down, but it seems to take forever when you think you might actually get one. So we'll see if that's going to happen or not. But those would be 2 definite levels you probably want to try to add. I know I will. Now, looking over here at Crowd, it's one of my favorite stocks. It's testing and testing and testing since I've been on vacation, the previous all-time high level, and it's held. There's a gap right there between like 480, 485, if I'm not mistaken. So if it holds, we get the bounce up, market continues to move. This is going to move up too, fill that gap. If it does break down from the previous all-time high right there and turn into resistance, look around like 445.63 to get a bounce. Google moved up like we thought it would once it made it past that level right there. But it is coming into the golden pocket. Usually, as you see at the 0.5 fib got hit, had a little retracement. Usually get the golden pocket, you kind of see the same thing where you'll see resistance or something, 0.79 fibs the exact same way. And so watch this one. Also mitigated that weekly fair value gap there as well. So we'll see how much more legs this one has. It has definitely played makeup. As I said, once we get past there, you can see this one go to like 183, 184 right there. And so we'll see. And then, of course, above that, it's going to be like 192, 195 for Google. And you can see if it comes down, 173, 175.50 should provide support. Now, this one somebody asked me about in the comments called Serve Robotics, right? And when you look at this one, you can clearly see there's a pattern here, right? Massive move down, maybe like a cup and handle type deal here. Not really, but anyway, huge move up. We'll talk about the percentages in just a second. And now you're kind of seeing the same thing, because I think that's what somebody's asked me about this. But again, there's a big difference what's happening now and then what happened the previous couple times, okay? And so with this one, what got it moving before, and why you got to be really, really careful with this right here, is because one reason it pumped in that last big one is because NVIDIA took a position in it. That was July 19, 2024, so it skyrocketed. It dropped like a rock. In 2025 it was, on February 14th, when they realized NVIDIA had dumped it, okay? So keep that in mind. But these are huge percentages. See the percentage, like 861% on that one. You get this pump right here, which is much smaller, but it's still like 163%. I think this was the NVIDIA pump, if I'm not mistaken, like 210%. I think this is the NVIDIA drop or something close to it, around 79%. And then here you are getting this pump again. So can it continue up here and get to maybe looking up at maybe $16 right there, 16 to 20, somewhere in there? Maybe, but can it get there without the NVIDIA news or anything, or some other company actually talking about it? Because, I mean, it's not based on fundamentals, not based on earnings, not based on any of that stuff. And the reason why this moves like it does, very simply, is because it has hardly any shares. The float is like 42 million, total outstandings 58 million. It's highly shorted. So absolutely, it can continue to push higher if they want to just keep squeezing it. And by the way, this is one of the products it makes. I didn't research this company or anything. I'd feel free. I just thought it was funny when I saw it. But when I scrolled down and I saw NVIDIA's name, I understood, okay, yeah, I remember this one for sure. And there's other companies, but I haven't seen one of these things. Let me know if you've seen that at all. But again, can it pump? Sure, it's just a short squeeze, but you got to be careful on something like this, because you can see it can fall off a cliff. It's done it multiple times. So when it drops, it's going to drop like a freaking rock, okay? So just be careful on that one. It seems like it's continuing the same pattern, but we'll see if it can push without any other news. Now, when it comes to earnings, obviously you have Chewy, Victoria's Secret, and then finally Oracle will report in the afternoon, so watch that one. And so let's just watch, see what CPI does and pre-market, how it's going to affect the market and everything. Buckle up for another fun one, guys. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. And I'm signing for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo, and that's everything you get with it. And I will see you guys tomorrow to report on all of this data and whatever the market decides to do. Have a good one.